Welcome to the fifth module of the Web3 Impact Toolkit, and in this module we're going to talk about Web3 tools for human rights and activism, and specifically looking at rights and accountability. So when we talk about blockchain and human rights, we're not talking about cryptocurrency speculation. We're talking about some of the most serious applications of this technology, in contexts where the stakes are life and death. Let's start with documentation and accountability. Human rights investigators and journalists often collect evidence of atrocities, photos of mass graves, recordings of testimonies, documentation of attacks. Historically, this evidence could be questioned. Was it altered? When was it really captured? Who had access? Blockchain can timestamp and fingerprint evidence at the moment of capture, creating a cryptographic record that proves when something existed and that it hasn't been modified since. This doesn't prevent evidence from being dismissed politically, but it makes fabrication claims much harder to sustain in legal and historical contexts. Starling Lab at Stanford has worked with the Holocaust Museum, the ICC's Ukraine investigations, and other projects to archive testimony and evidence with cryptographic verification. When witnesses are disappearing or fleeing, permanent verified records really matter. Then there's identity. Upwards of 1 billion people around the world lack access to proof of identity. Refugees is one example of folks who may have lost identifying documentation when they fled, and in many countries, proving who you are is a prerequisite to accessing services, opening bank accounts, and even surviving. Decentralized identity systems can create self-sovereign credentials, proof of who you are that doesn't depend on any single government or institution maintaining records. Now, this is early and complex work, but organizations are piloting systems that let refugees maintain verified credentials across borders, even when their home countries won't or can't provide documentation. And finally, there's coordination and resource distribution. Activist movements in authoritarian contexts face constant surveillance and suppression. Crypto can provide financial lifelines when banks are weaponized against civil society. DAO-style coordination can enable collective action that's harder to shut down than traditional organizational structures. We've seen this practically during many crises, including Ukrainians receiving crypto donations when banking infrastructure was disrupted, women in Afghanistan receiving funds for their education through channels that the Taliban couldn't shut down, journalists in exile maintaining financial independence from hostile regimes. There are so many incredible Web3 use cases for human rights and activism, and hopefully this got you inspired, and we're going to keep the conversation going in video 2 of Module 5, where we're going to talk about privacy and security considerations. We'll see you there.